Okay, it's September 26, 2025. I'm just going to do a quick video. Well, it's not going to be quick. It's going to take a little bit of time to go through it. I just want to get some markings and some bearings of all the easement markings, all the utility markings at my address of 10204 Timberwood Circle. Again, September 26th. Trying to get a pole put in. But this still could serve as a good record for future type activity. So I'm gonna walk out a little bit just because it's hard to tell where I am. So obviously in the street, so we have the property corner. We have LG&E, electric and gas. We have AT&T internet going through this side of the house. Runs to the back, all the way to the back. And again, this is for putting a pole in the back of the yard. And I'm trying to get references, so if I need it in the future, I'll have it. This is a property corner, that's what the surveyor calls it. And that would line, like if you're standing right in front of it, between those two windows. And it's about 20 inches, I'd say, from the sidewalk. And that's called a property corner because it really takes this corner. They just don't put them all the way around. They just assume that if you wanted to know, that's what you would do. Basically, the sidewalk is your boundary, your property line. So now I'm going around, it's a corner lot. Going around to the side, there's another property corner. So this one would coincide with that one over there on this corner. And again, I'm going to back out. So I would say this property corner, in case this tree's not here, lines up with the center of that offset in our house. And that's the garage right there. So the offset, come back, and you're about, again, 20 inches from the sidewalk, property corner. There's a pin. That's why I'm doing that. There's pins there. So if we need to find the pins, if someone else needs to find the pins at a later time and these trees are gone, that will give you the reference. It's almost straight up to, it's almost even with the gutter up there, a little bit to the left of that, and then back on the sidewalk about 20 inches in is where that pin is. Okay, again, all this is to have a pole put in. So there's really no measurements out here. All the other measurements, all these other strings out here are me just being silly, I guess. The primary reason I did this is because if we do get to put a pole in, if it'll fit, this will be the construction entry point. I'm just trying to make a point that I just want this to be the only entry point to my yard because it's going to all be mud when they're finished. So there's really no technical markings here, with the exception of the easement up there, and I'll show you that. So here's another marker from the surveyor, and this is the edge of the easement. Okay, and it's actually not pinned. I don't think it's pinned. So, reference, this will be kind of hard. If the fence is still here, again about 20 inches from the sidewalk, and if the fence is still here, you're probably, that's on an angle with that other one, I'd say 4 feet from that opening of the fence. Okay, and what we can do is come over to the other property corner, which is really a boundary. You can see, this may help, and I'm just going to give you approximate measurements here. This is not just for my benefit, for for someone else's as well in the future. I'm going to call that about, I don't know, 12 feet, maybe 15 feet from this property corner pin to the easement line that runs straight out that way. Okay, it's a little complicated. Property corner, and this one is pinned as well. So that is, this property corner is pinned. Now you might think, well, wait a minute, Dan, you're way over on your side of the property. And it's a little bit, that fence is about 3 inches on my neighbor's easement. And there's a tree way back there. There's another pin back there behind that tree. I know that's really hard to see, but basically what this means is this property corner runs on an angle, just like the easement does. So that fence is really not encroaching that much. It is encroaching, we figure, about 3 inches if it goes straight back. So that fence is actually in the easement, right in the middle of the easement. It's not a big deal. That's just not a big deal. So now I'm gonna go back to where the pool is going. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna call out a couple of things. The LG&E pin is right here. And for reference, about 7 feet from the fence, right behind this tree, if it's still here when you're looking at it, and about 2 feet to the left of this gate, if it's still here. So that's LG&E. It runs, that's where it goes, and it feeds a transformer all the way down that way. And then this is the easement boundary right here. It's the easement boundary. So there's the other one. I'll make you guys dizzy here. So there's the other one, and it runs on an angle. Okay, this really comes way up into this corner lot. So as we enter the backyard, coming from the street, we've got several things running in here. We have the sewer, we have LG&E, and we also have AT&T. And I think it's the old landline circuits. So the red is LG&E, the orange is AT&T, and the green is sewer, which I had someone come out and do that a few days ago. So just a quick look out this way. There's nothing here that has anything to do with the pool. So I'm going to try to stick with this. So this fence is cool. This fence is in the middle of the easement between the two properties, which they got away with back in the 70s. Today it would be hard to get away with. So I'm going to go with this easement line again. So I'm going to come all the way back to here. And this easement, if you can see all the way down, there's the easement line down there. I don't know how to give you a reference point. I could get a measuring tape out, but I'm just not going to go that far with it. Most people don't. That easement line down there is about 6 feet from the fence. The second pin, I'm going to guess about 10 feet from the fence, if the fence is still there. It should be. It's a nice one. And then this pin, I don't know, 20 feet from that fence over there. I could measure off the house, but just not going to go that far with it. The point is, the easement's way up in the yard, which has made it difficult for the pool company. I'm guessing here. They said this is abnormal to have, so many utilities and that potentially could be in the way. So we just want to get a pool. We started on this, I think, in June of 2025, and we're almost at October, and we're still working on this. I do want to call out the sewer And I've kind of done this before, but it runs way over at the corner of the house and runs on the inside of the house under the concrete 8 feet deep, and comes out around that chimney and runs underneath this deck. So if the deck is still here or not here at a later time and those windows are, which they should be, it comes out about center of that window. Okay, and then it runs about 7.5 feet deep coming from this deck, and it runs, it gets higher, 7.5, 8 feet, and so forth. And then that next pin, I think we're getting closer to 9 feet here, and then 10 feet, and then, take some turns. And then it gets out to 11 feet on this pin here. That is the drain, that's the tap, and there's a main sewer running both direction. Of course, mine flows that way out toward the street. Okay, so all this is in the easement just like it's supposed to be. Something tells me that they may have stretched this easement out at some point. I've never seen one come this far up in the yard. And now the pool's going in this area. I'm going to try to back up a little bit, but the challenge is, with all the risk associated with safety with a pool, we're really we want 9 feet here between the deck and water's edge. The concrete doesn't matter, but we want that 9 feet so we can get a fabric fence put around the pool, come off the 2 steps off the deck. All this is coming out, and then when you come down 2 feet, if you were to fall, you would hit the fabric fence before going into the water. If you got knocked out or something like that. That's why, that's why we're really wanting to push the pool out that way, away from this deck. So that is a challenge, because the easement runs on an angle from there, as we said earlier, out that way. But I think it'll work if the city allows the pool company, I think it's Premier Pool and Spa, if they allow them to put the concrete on the edge of the easement, I think we're going to be okay. If they make them push off of this easement line, coming back that way toward the house, and push the pool that way, that's obviously going to be a serious safety issue for us. We just don't want the water that close to a deck. For young folks and seasoned people, it's just too risky. Plus, I think it breaks the cosmetic look of the pool. So the original discussion I had with the construction guy pushed the water's edge up to here, that orange dot right here. That was water's edge, and then that would be concrete running along here, just way too close to the deck. So all this we're hoping is going to be concrete. All this, all the way up to there, the sunroom. We put 2 steps on those doors right there on the center. All this would be concrete. And this yellow is where actually my wife and I came out and said, what is it we'd be willing to accept from a safety perspective? And that's here. And I think this one might be washed away. Here it is, right here. So the pool's only 12 feet wide, so it's probably going to go in and then run out this way on an angle, because the steps are actually here on the pool. So it could fit. We're hoping that we get some news and they can get it installed before it gets too cold. So the equipment pad is over here, right there. There's no utilities in there yet, but that's where the equipment pad will be. And then of course, for future reference, this is the electrical line that feeds that goes from the transformer down there into the home. Okay, this one here, I would call that about 2 feet, 24 inches from the corner of the house. And then this line, oh, let's see here, this line is the line coming from that way, going this way. It's feeding all the street lamps out in the front of the subdivision. And this one is the AT&T cable that apparently feeds the rest of the neighborhood that cuts through here. Never really knew that was there, but it's irrelevant. That has nothing to do with this pool. And then this is a gazebo marking that we want to bring up to the pool. It's roughed in, it's 12 by 16 that we just marked off. And what we try to do is to get it on an angle and keep the concrete just on the easement. So you see it's right on the easement. So if they allow that, that's going to be perfect. That way you can sit back here and you can see, you know, people in the pool for safety reasons and really entertainment value as well. So that's really it. So this video serves, again, two purposes. One, for us to get the pool in and understand where all the utilities are. And secondly, you know, I'll put it up on YouTube for anyone who might buy the house in the future, or, you know, family member, whoever owns the house after we go somewhere else, promised land, whatever the reason might be, we'll know where these utilities are. So, I mean, you could always have a do-over, but maybe sometimes this can just be a quick, I know what it is because I kind of see where the easements are. Okay, so that's it. That's the end of the video. It's a long one. I didn't think it would last this long, but I just wanted to get this out, so I'm going to try to get it to the pool company as well. It might be of some value to those folks.